This is part 3, covering part 3 of our bus class project that from the summative tasks that we did. And in the third part, in the first part, we just created a bare bones skeleton version of the project that just printed out the reference of an object. In the second step, we built a constructor, and we confirmed that our code works. And now we're going to do a little more work to make sure that we can test that functionality that we added to our constructor in step 2 and the instance variables that we added in part 2. And it says add getter methods for the 2 instance variables in the bus class. Use your getter methods in your tester class to update the print line statement so that it reports the fare and the current number of riders. And here's an example of what the output should look like. It just has the bus and its reference and says how much it costs to ride and that there are currently this many riders. So let me go to my code here. And we're going to start by adding our getter methods to our bus class. So these are private. So you can't access these variables directly from any other code. So that's why we need the getter methods. And they will be public. The first one is to get the fare. And so it should return a double because that's the type of the fare instance variable. So public double get fare. And somebody asking for the fare in their code, they don't need to give us any information. So there's no parameters or arguments for the getFare method. And that's typical of getter methods. They're just instance methods that return the values of instance variables. So we're going to return this dot fare. And that's it. We can do a similar getter method for the rider count. We'll do a public int get rider count. And we're just going to return this dot rider count. And those are our 2 getter methods. So now that we've written these, we can get access to these values. And I'll go to the tester class and follow the specification. I'm going to update this print line. And let me just take a look here. This is what I would like to do. The bus toString method will give us this. And I just want to say the cost that it costs to ride. So I want to use the getFare method to get this number, and use the getRiderCount method to get this number. So go back here. We're just going to do add to this line of code. Okay. So this bus we created here costs my bus.getFare. That's how much it costs to ride. And just take a look at the specification. Okay, and there are currently how many riders? There should be 0. And there are currently, I'm not going to hard code the 0, of course. Just instead, what I'm trying to do is use the, and I'm going to start a new line here. My bus dot get rider count. And so this bus, or my bus, costs this much to ride, and there are currently this many riders, period. So there's my print line method, and it's basically testing my get fare and my get rider count methods in the bus class. Let's see what happens when we compile and run this thing. Compile and run the tester class. And here's the new output. It says bus at this memory location costs 2.5 to ride, and there are currently 0 riders. And the 2.5 and the 0, those values came from my getter methods, get fare and get rider count. So just one last look at the specification. All right, our output looks good, and we've fulfilled the expectation of part 3 of this task.